So there was a kid who goes before the king, and he wants to fight this giant. Yeah. David and Goliath. Yeah. And we know the story that David gets this victory over the giant. It's such a great story because it's a story of an underdog. But it goes much further than that. It goes to a point where this is a kid that we're talking about. A kid fights a champion and he prevails. I think after talking about this so much and preaching about it, I think today is one of the things as a leader that really resonates with me personally is the moment when the conversation between King Saul and David. David gives his resume in. He says, "I beat a lion, I beat a bear," which is noteworthy. I never killed a bear or let alone ever been in a situation with a lion. So I would say that's some sort of noteworthy and probably convincing. However, one of the things that I was thinking and just studying and learning about this situation, we see that King Saul said yes to a kid. And I think that should be mentioned. I think we should look at that. We should acknowledge that decision by the king. Now, there's plenty of reasons why he probably said yes to David. But let's start with the negatives. Do you think he made that decision because he was so afraid that he became defeated? Or was he just a coward? Or the positive upside is that we actually see a king who sees this kid's potential. And down deep in his heart, he sees this champion in this little kid, David. And he sees potential. That's the key, is he sees the potential. But I think ultimately we'll never know how King David really and King Saul really made this decision from his heart. Because the truth about this moment is that he believed in David. I think that's where the very essence of King Saul is the reason why God chose him to be a king, is to be the man who believes in people. Now, when I begin to think, why do I resonate so much with this part of the story? Why do I resonate? Why does it hit home for me? Because I feel like I've had King Saul, and I have been to David, and I feel like I've been to David who was asking for permission. And I feel at one point, and I feel more and more often now, I feel at this point of King Saul, who I have people coming in and asking for certain responsibilities, and I'm saying yes to them. To these underqualified kids. I remember when I was 15 and I was on fire for God, and I was just so lit up, passion, and I wanted to preach, I wanted to teach, and never did I ever get a leader tell me you're not ready. Never had that. And I'm so thankful that I never had a leader that told me that I wasn't ready. I've always had leaders in my life, beginning with my dad, to leaders that were in the college and high school, and they would just say, yeah, you can do it, just do it. And they gave me room to fail, and I learned through my mistakes. I think sometimes we kind of get caught up in this shining leadership that we're looking for. It has to meet up at certain qualities and certain expectations. And quite frankly, I think sometimes we get that from the world. We have to have a polished resume. We have to have, you have to be qualified in order to be this leader in the church, in this ministry or the project, whatever we're working in. And sometimes I think we need to remember that we were once David and that we were not qualified, but somebody said yes to you. And I think sometimes down the road, when we become leaders or we become people in charge or responsible people, we have a tendency of forgetting that where we came from. And that's why it's so easy for us to say, no, there's too many red flags. Nope, 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 wrong. No, And I believe that we have to be careful when we make those kind of decisions. Because are we looking at the people Are we seeing the potential in the people? Do we see that potential? How many times have we said yes to David? How many times have we said no to David? Think about that. Look at this perspective. The moment you say yes to somebody and you give their support, you are truly functioning in authority. You are operating in such an authority that it is inspiring and it's empowering somebody. When you say yes to someone, that person feels your support. When you say no to someone, that person can feel discouraged. Yes, there are times that people are not ready to do certain things. But I think most importantly, the question is, are you willing to get behind the David and say, you're going to have my armor too. I encourage you to look at the potential of other people, the young people especially, older people especially, anybody, and really say, can I say yes to you? I want to be behind you. The power of support. We need more leaders to learn how to come in and be believers, even if you're not qualified. Imagine that we have leadership that say yes to the unqualified. That sounds a whole lot like Jesus, if you ask me. A bunch of rejects following Jesus that changed the world upside down. Because maybe, who knows, you might just raise up a David who conquered things that we couldn't do ourselves. So I pray that may you see the potential in the generations before and after and today. And may you be able to say yes. And if my own armor, my own tools, my own teachers can help you, take them. But if not, may your God prevail in your battles. Because as your leader, I believe in you. I believe in you.